It's 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. Dave Lawrence with you, and this is the Workforce Afternoon. I've been lucky enough to be with the Big Kahuna since it started, and they brought me here, and I'm about to introduce my next guest, who is clearly the biggest in that time, and perhaps in my life. He is a world-class showman whose gifts we have enjoyed via rock concerts, theatrical productions, films, television, and a library of the finest recorded music, including the new collection Then and Now, 64 to 2004. We are proud to welcome him August 3rd and 4th when he and his band perform in Hawaii. Tickets are on sale now for the Blaisdell show through Ticketmaster, and that is August 3rd. The next night, August 4th, at the Maui Arts and Cultural Center. They are on sale through 242 Show. I am honored to welcome to the Workforce Afternoon on 105.9 The Big Kahuna, The Who's Roger Daltrey. Aloha, Roger.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
I'm great, Roger. How are you?
Fine.
It's a great pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for taking some time.
It's my pleasure. Well, how's it in Hawaii? A beautiful day?
It is a beautiful day, and it'll be it's very sunny here, mid-80s, and
well, that's a surprise.
The kind of day that it'll be, hopefully, when you guys show up here. How much experience do you have with Hawaii?
We went there in 1967 with Herman's Hermits.
That's right.
And we only played Honolulu, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic. Recollections of wonderful beaches, wonderful women, and a very nice time.
That seems to touch off some fun memories for you. Is that your only time here in the state?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, then this is a big deal having you back.
Well, I'm in a band where the guitarist doesn't like to travel very much,
and that certainly plays into your plans. And I guess that would sort of. There's been only a handful of dates this year. That sort of goes in with that. Is that why you guys haven't done a full scale tour for Then and Now?
No, there is another reason. We're in the studio trying to come up with a new album of worthwhile material before the end of the year. And but we didn't want to lose touch with the stage and doing it live, because that's where we feel we really belong. So we thought, well, let's make it a round trip, and we'll do Japan, Australia, Hawaii, end up on the west coast of America. So that's how we've done it. And we're only doing like 8 or 9 shows.
Yeah,
so
no,
it'll be a bit of fun.
It really is a limited run.
Well, that's what we do. We tend to do that because we don't. I mean, when you read the Who biogs, you think, well, they've toured an awful lot. But when you actually look at the number of gigs we've played, we haven't actually done that many. I think it's only in the kind of 650, 700 in our whole career.
Yeah, I have that book, the Who File, the Irish Jack book.
Yeah, so it's not really a lot of shows, and I think maybe that's why it's still so fresh today to us, because we don't overplay it. We never do more than kind of 7, 8 to 10 shows in a run before we have at least a 2-week break. So that every time we come back to the material, it's always fresh. It's always, my God, we've got this mountain to climb. It's a new song, and I've got to beat it. And that's the attitude of the band, and that's how we go out. And it's never cheated. It demands a certain amount of energy, which we, so far, touch wood, we've always been lucky enough to produce.
And it really is there, and that really is the way I think that it transcends into people's minds. And as you've done these handful of shows that it has been in 2004, how do they compare with your last outing in 2002? Certainly the lineup has gelled.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were kind of started that whole tour in 2002 in terrible times, with John dying the night before we were due to start the tour, and then we decided to perform 3 days later at the Hollywood Bowl with a session bass player who we all admire, Pino Palladino, and it went so well, and the band has become. I mean, it is different than when John was with us, but the bass lines are basically what was on the records. I mean, that's what's written in the songs. So as soon as Pino starts playing, he doesn't play the same as John, but it's like as though John Entwistle's there. The same with the drums with Zach Starkey. It's as though Keith Moon is there. That's the nature of the songs, and the songs are so rigidly structured in a classical sense. There's a way in which Townsend's songs are very, very different from, I would say, almost any other rock and roll that's out there. He had an understanding of classical music and classical structure that gives them a breadth of energy and sound that is unlike anything else you're likely to hear in rock and roll.
And pointing out, taking something you just said, I have seen a couple of different lineups of The Who, and I find that Zach Starkey, the way he interprets the playing, does lend itself a lot more to Keith's sound.
Well, the thing about Zach is that he totally understands the way that the songs are written. He totally understands the way the energy of the band works and where the root of that energy lies, and he plays with that just the same way as Keith understood it. And this really went wrong for us when Keith first died, and we got Kenny Jones in the band, who's incidentally is a fantastic drummer.
Sure,
but he just had a totally different style, and his style didn't work with the Who, and we lost it for a few years there. And that was not a fun time, I'll tell you.
I enjoyed Simon Phillips, who's a tremendous drummer.
Simon was good, but he's not really a rock and roll drummer.
Exactly.
He's very technical and very jazzy. But,
yeah.
But Zach's a real four-to-the-floor rock and roll drummer in the same way as Kenny Jones was, but he's just got this style and he understands where the energy comes from, that he just slots it in the pocket every time.
Yeah, man, live. I've been blown away live and got to see you up close a number of times on the 2000 tour when you guys went out and had Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes were playing one night, and then you guys would play the next night. And they moved me here from Boston. I used to work with Carter Allen. I'm sure you know the radio station I was working for in Boston, WZLX, was presenting a show, and I got to be around a bunch of them actually. And I couldn't agree more. The way that Zach interpreted stuff throughout the set, he's just got a remarkable sound. I think he's a great asset to you today. How does it feel sharing him now, or apparently the news is that he's going to be in Oasis as well?
Well, I mean, Zach's a young guy compared with us. I mean, and he doesn't want to waste his life waiting for us to do our 20, 30 shows a year. And he's been offered an Oasis gig, and he's doing it, but we're working around him.
Nice.
I mean, we're in the studio. We've decided that we'll work around him going out with them or whatever he wants to do with them. We'll work around it. But I think if you had to ask Zach if he had to put his money on one horse, I think it would be on the Who.
Yeah, well, I think I'd go with you on that for sure, Roger. I think that's a given. Are you an Oasis fan?
I like their material. I think they're kind of in their dog days at the moment.
Sure.
And I think they've got a bridge to cross, and they haven't crossed it yet. But I think if they can do that, I think they will be a band that lasts the course. I think they will be around in 10, 15 years' time. Let's see.
Yeah, that's a good summary.
I do think they're kind of hitting the wall at the moment, which is understandable. Every artist does.
That's very perceptive of you. It's interesting that your analysis of it, so to speak. You mentioned being in the studio and cutting what will be a full-length record. Tell me about how that process goes. I've only heard bits and pieces through. I've heard these Eddie Vedder comments about him hearing demos, and it sounds very exciting. What is actually happening? How does this process work?
Writing songs. I mean, we work very. Pete likes to work in a very insular manner, and when he's in the writing process, I just let him get on and write. I don't even call him. I just let him get on and do it. When he's ready, he'll call me and say, "I've got some songs. I want to go in the studio," and then I'll hear his songs, and hopefully I'll be able to write something that I feel, or I'll have something in my stock of songs that I've written that I feel will suit the album. I don't want to get two songs on a record that stick out like sore thumbs and make people skip tracks.
Sure. So you have, at this moment, what is already in the can, so to speak, relating to a full-length record?
We've just got the two songs.
Okay.
But I have heard a few glimmers of stuff that Pete's doing, and it's very interesting.
And will Real Good Looking Boy end up being re-released?
Well, hopefully we'll re-record that. I think that in its present form, I consider it only ever the demo. It's the first time we ever recorded it, and I always like to live with a song a lot longer than we had before we recorded that.
Sure.
Before we actually do it, and if that's the demo, I'll be very happy, because I would like to go back and do it again.
And how personally aware are you of the airplay relating to that song, Real Good Looking Boy? We've been pounding it for a very long time here. I'm just curious.
People tend, I'm a strong believer in that song, that in the old sense of the word, that is a hit song. Not that those kind of hit songs exist anymore. It just shows to me that Townsend's not lost none of his edge for writing from that space that everybody goes, well, I feel like that and I understand that song completely. And he seems to have that way of touching us and making us feel something. And he seems to have lost none of that, and I'm very happy about it. And I don't know about how much it's getting played. I hear it's been good, and I hope that's true. I think it deserves to. I
find things in that song, as you just said, that touch my own life, and I think that's been the magic of the song. It is an epic, clearly, and
well, it's that. I think it's that thing that everybody in their life has someone that they kind of emulate and they would like to be, or they think they would like to be, and they maybe think that they're like. But of course, we're not really.
Right, and the way you interpret it, Roger, like the one line that sticks out in my mind every time I hear it as just, I mean, there's many magical moments in the song, but the line, "You came into my life like a fragrance, helped me find a way to laugh," is just an incredible. Is it something that you feel yourself?
I do identify very much with the song, because I wanted to be like Elvis. We all did. Of course, we all thought we looked like Elvis, but of course we didn't at all. But then, as you go through life, you learn to live with you. And getting back to where we were with Oasis, I think that's the problem Oasis have got. They're very good at being who they used to be. And if that makes sense to you, and what they've got to learn now to be is what they are now.
Expound on that just a little.
Well, they're kind of very good with what you expect. And it's like, I saw them recently at Glastonbury. They played a festival in England, and they were headlining it. And Liam's still doing what he was doing 10 years ago. And it's not just the clothes. It's nothing to do with that. That's just clothes. It's to do with where his head's at. He still thinks he is the person he was 10 years ago. And of course you're not. You never are. And it doesn't matter if you still wear the same clothes, it's where your head's at. Where have you come in that 10 years?
What you just said is how I describe when I tell people why Real Good Looking Boy is magical. It's like Pete Townshend takes you on a journey from his youth to looking at things from Pete's perspective now.
Well, this is why I've always so believed that and it's always frustrated me as an interpreter of songs. I won't ever be the songwriter that Pete Townshend is. But I'm a great interpreter of songs, and I've always believed that what rock and roll had, that it managed to tap into the experiences of youth in a way that had never been done before, and the problems of adolescence in the way it had never been done before. And it's always frustrated me that rock and roll had never managed to grow up in its songwriting into middle age and old age. And I really do believe that Townshend is the only guy on the songwriting front with the quality of writing that can actually take what it's like to be middle-aged and in old age and make it still rock and roll, because the only reason there isn't any old rock and roll is because we were all young when we did it.
Right.
There wasn't anyone to draw a line on, But, I mean, as long as the stuff's got energy and it's got... There's something about the fire of the human spirit that doesn't age. The people say, I look 80, but I still feel like if I shut my eyes, I'm 16.
That's a good analogy.
And the fire of the human spirit is the same as that. And I don't know why rock and roll can't just carry that, but articulate in the same way as Good Looking Boy does, the problems of being 80. There are things that we've all got to address, hopefully.
And it does take it from the perspective of both, through time to today. And while I have you on the show, Roger, I'd love to play Real Good Looking Boy, and then we'll talk some more and wrap it up. Is that cool?
Yeah, good.
You're the man. It's Dave Lawrence with The Who's legendary lead vocalist, Roger Daltrey, and here he is with The Who on the song Real Good Looking Boy. It's a current classic from the Then and Now 1964 to 2004 CD. You've heard here since before its release on the Workforce Afternoon on 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock. Truly the song of the summer and likely the year. That's Real Good Looking Boy from Then and Now, 1964 to 2004, on 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock, the Workforce Afternoon. Dave Lawrence with you. My special guest is The Who's Roger Daltrey, an elite rock superstar who's been very generous with his time today. I thank you for being on the show, Roger.
It's my pleasure.
And mine as well. On that track, the thing that makes that track different from the other new track, Old Red Wine, that's been added to this CD, is that Greg Lake from ELP is on board. How did he get involved to play the bass on this?
The bass player we use on the road is Pino Palladino.
Correct.
Who's played with, he's almost played with everybody. But he was on tour with Simon and Garfunkel when we cut this record, and we thought, well, who do we get? And I just done a charity show with Greg Lake, who I've known for years. And I just said, well, it's not a very complicated bass part, and maybe Greg's style, let's just see. We just needed someone to play the bass, and Greg came along, and he was really easygoing, and it just happened like it is. Wow,
it's a big name for fans to see him added, and it caught a lot of us by surprise. I think people maybe thought for a moment or two that he would be joining the band or something like that, but it was merely, as you've just pointed out, just a fill-in thing.
I think as far as even Zach, as far as joining the band, I don't think we'll ever do that again. The band, the actual Who, is Pete and myself, and if we need bolt-on bits, we'll get them. But we as far as we're concerned, that Zach, Pino, and John Rabbit Bundrick, Simon Townsend, they will always be the first-line troops.
Okay.
We have to be honest that the band is Pete and I.
It's an incredible assessment to hear you say it like that, and I'm sure that puts a lot of fans at ease. I'm sure that's how they see it too.
I'm glad about that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, Roger.
But I mean, because we don't. The thing about it is, we learned a lot from our mistakes when Keith died. And it's like having a room that is 20 by 20. Mm-hmm. One wall falls out. If you don't replace the wall, your room can be 1,000 by 20.
Wow.
500 by 20.
What an analogy.
As soon as you replace the wall, you're 20 by 20 again.
I've never heard it described like that. That's a fascinating way to look at it. So it's open. It's more open. Well, we
want to keep it that way because music is an ever-expanding process or ever-decreasing process. It depends what you want to do. But you want to leave your canvas as big as you can have it to paint the notes on.
When you're putting together the canvas, that is the set list for each night.
Oh, the nightmare of the set list.
Is that what it is? It's a nightmare?
It's a nightmare.
Why?
Well, because you've always got a split in the audience. You've got probably 2/3 of the people are coming because they want to hear your hits. They want to have a sing-along. They just want to hear your hits. They want to have a sing-along. And then you've got probably 1/3, maybe less, maybe 1/4 of real die-hard fans who want to hear all the obscure stuff. And it's getting that balance right. You can never, ever, ever get it right. And, we've got a problem, which is a lot of groups would like to have, is that we have got 2 hours of hits without playing any obscure stuff.
No doubt.
So it becomes increasingly difficult because you can never please all the people all the time.
Wow, so it's seen as a nightmare. Who's responsible for this nightmare each day?
Well, unfortunately, it gets lumbered on me, but I hate it.
Oh, so you're the one. You actually are the one who puts it together.
I usually put it together, but in the last few gigs, I've thrown it back at Pete. Say, come on, you've got to help me out here. I can only juggle 3 balls so many ways.
And one of the set lists that I think people were very curious about from 2004 was in March 29th, when you did another benefit for the Teenage Cancer Trust at the Royal Albert Hall, which I think is a very honorable thing for you to do. And I had thought in advance that was going to be some sort of production of Tommy. Was that the case? Was that planned to be?
Well, unfortunately, the promoter did rather jump the gun on it.
Oh, is that what happened?
We told him not to print it. We might do it as a surprise, but unfortunately, he printed it. But when we tried to do it, we didn't really have enough rehearsal time, and we thought, well, what do we do? Do we do this that we might not be great on, or do we do what we know how to do, and we will be, we haven't played for 18 months, this will be red hot. So we kind of did quite a lot of Tommy, but not all of it. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason that happened.
I bought that show.
Oh, I was dying with the flu.
I know, you mentioned that on the stage, but I wanted to support the charity, and I knew that you were giving away all the proceeds
that's right.
from the sale of both the tickets and the CD, which it says, by the way, on the back of the CD. It says all profits from this are being given away to charity, and I've mentioned that countless times on the air, themusic.com.
Well, it was a really good idea that came Pete and I had the idea years ago to kind of bootleg the bootleggers, because we've been bootlegged all of our career by people recording our shows and doing these bootleg copies. And we thought, well, what do we do about it? And then we thought, well, we'll just bootleg ourselves and give the money to charity. And so far, it's raised $1 million.
It's an awesome thing, dude. I plug it all the time. I think it's a great thing that you've done.
Well, you know why I like it, Dave? Is because it's out there, warts and all. It's whatever it is on the night is there on the record, and there's no clean-ups, no anything. And if I'm singing flat, it's flat. If I've got the flu, I've got the flu. If Pete's playing bum notes, he's playing bum notes. And it's very rare you hear that kind of honesty from bands.
And you acknowledge it that night a couple of times, and you do it in a really humorous way that makes people feel at ease with what's going on. And you should know, though, bro, the version of Eminence Front on that is ferocious, and I play that a lot. That really, I mean, it's I don't know, my skin crawls. It's so authentic.
Oh, good.
It's very happening, and there's other, I've featured a lot of other cuts.
There's always a gem every night, even if we've got, one of the wheels falling off.
Is that how you look at it when that happens? That's funny. Just a couple more questions, and I'll let you go, Roger. Are we all right for time, by the way? How are you with time?
Yeah, I'm fine.
You're fine? Okay, good. The Universal Music Company has done something that I think is remarkable. They do this for a lot of different bands, but the Who records that they do this with are different from the other ones. And they do this thing like this deluxe edition treatment. And as a fan who's listened to the music forever, when they did that with like Who's Next, and there becomes like an entire extra disc of stuff added that is from the vaults. Are you aware of these, what I would think are incredible upgrades to the albums, and how it sort of demonstrates a lot of the intricacies of what went on in the studio at the time they were made?
Yeah, we're always aware of that, because the record companies have got the right to do these, re-releases and all that, and we're always concerned with, all right, don't just re-release it. Let's make it better.
Yeah.
And so that's the process. Then and now they wanted to do a best of, and I've got nothing against best ofs, because you have to realise that there are new generations of fans coming round all the time, and you can't expect them to go out and buy 10 CDs just to get a cross section of what you've done over your career. So they go and buy a best of, and they get it all on one record. So they're a good idea in that sense. But, with Then and Now, we said, well, let us give you 2 new songs to try and make it a bit different.
And the packaging, too, is very cool.
Yeah, it's a pity it's not the old original, album covers in the vinyl.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I like it that you have such a, you really are, you stand behind the record, and that's a great thing, that you feel that way. And I also dig the fact, one more point on those, is that Pete himself, but it's what you just said. I mean, Pete makes sure, because it always says that these re-releases, these deluxe edition things, are done with Pete, and it's as if he makes sure that the quality of this thing is going to be something that people, will hang on to.
Oh yes, because it's his music, it's his legacy, and to me, he's one of the most important writers of the latter part of the 20th century. There's him and there's Brian Wilson, there's John Lennon, Bob Dylan. And then it becomes, well, who else? You know, in the rock and roll field.
Mm-hmm. After more than 40 years of working with him, Roger, what do you admire most about Pete Townshend?
Oh, dear. He's I mean, I'm so close to him. What do I admire most about him?
I mean, he's a hero of mine, so I'm curious what...
I just admire his talent.
Just as a raw, creative force?
Oh, yeah. And I admire his honesty, too.
So his talent and his honesty. Were there ever things that you looked at as absolutely crucial moments in The Who's history that you think of often or have really affected you that you would look back on and say, these are paramount things, or things that stand out as highlights?
Oh, there's when Keith Moon joined the band, the first hit record. There's Tommy. Then there's Who's Next, which incidentally wasn't a very big record actually when it was released. It was, people kind of didn't understand it at all. Then there was Live at Leeds, Quadrophenia. Every record seemed to be a huge, milestone in our career. They weren't just small leaps for us. And then we went on, of course, to Who Are You, and we made that song on there called The Music Must Change, and change it did, because Keith went and died. We don't play that live anymore. I won't do it anymore.
Wow.
Because we were going to play it on the tour in '72. Mm-hmm. We rehearsed it, and then John went and died. So I never want to play that song again live. That's
very revealing. In what you said, every one of those records, every Who record was an epic. Each one of them is a milestone in rock, and each one, some of them rather, were more complex than others. Has it ever been frustrating to you trying to help people interpret these amazingly complex pieces?
No, I understand that everybody's view of music is their own, and that's what's wonderful about it. And it's the same between a book and a film. When you read a book, the characters are your characters. They're living in a world that you create. And you see the film, it's somebody else's. And it's as simple as that. And music is like a book. It's huge. It's every listener for themselves.
That's a great assessment. Well, are you likely to release these 2 Hawaii dates that you're going to be playing?
Oh, they'll be out, yeah. The live shows will be out afterwards, yeah.
Nice.
Money goes to charity.
So we can... all of them will be?
Oh, yeah, we do. Every show we do, we release.
I know that they've been released, but they all go to charity. I didn't know that.
It all goes to charity, yeah.
Every Who live CD that you release goes to charity?
Yeah, every one that we do through our website goes to charity.
Man, that is very impressive, Roger. That's a cool thing. I think fans here will certainly appreciate that. And just because I'd like to get a little feedback from a pro like you, was this an okay interview, Roger?
It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it.
Truly?
Yeah, truly.
That's nice to hear. And please know that when you're in Honolulu, if there's any time at all, I'd love the chance to welcome you personally from my station.
I'll get our office to get in touch with you and see if we can get to meet. It'd be great to come in and chat to you.
I would really, really appreciate that.
All right, Dave.
And give you some gifts.
That'd be brilliant.
And finally, Roger, just to let everybody know, tickets are on sale now for both shows. August 3rd, the Blaisdell Arena, and then August 4th, the Maui Arts and Cultural Center. For Blaisdell tickets, Ticketmaster has them, and for the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, 242-SHOW. Of course, we have all that information here at the studio. The new CD is Then and Now, 1964 to 2004 on Geffen from Universal Music. And it has been a great honor and thrill to have you as a guest on my show here on 105.9 The Big Kahuna. Thank you very much, Roger. A big aloha, brother.
Aloha to you. Yeah, you be lucky.
You're the man.
Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
We'll definitely try and get together.
Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
I look forward to meeting you when you're here. Take care.
All right, you be lucky.